Join us today in discussion. Please make your comments. Please make your comments so that we may address them on a later telecast. Again, this is Pastor Stephen Chitman, 2nd St. John Church, West Memphis, Arkansas. Our phone number is just like it's listed right there on the screen. We're right here in West Memphis, Arkansas, 305 Ingram Boulevard. Call us if you desire us to be a witness of your transformation, of you giving your life to Christ, or if you want to join this ministry. Give me a call, leave your name, your cell phone number so that we can talk to you or text you with information about the church. We would be happy to have you to work in the ministry of 2nd St. John, and I'm sure Bishop Moore is the same way. And we just thank God for these guests that's joining us. I won't take any more of your time. Make sure you look at this, re-look at this, examine it, and if you have any pertinent or good information that we should consider about how to get everybody involved in ministry, please make a comment, because we are all going to review those comments, and we're going to come on again, and we're going to see how to open this up so that others can continue to come on with us or to come on with us live. Okay, at this time, we're going to go right into our discussion. May God bless you, and thank you for joining with us today. Hello, welcome to 2nd St. John Church, where we're having a freelance discussion about how to move the church into the future. We have a special guest with us today. We have Minister Lakina Booker, also the head of Memphis Merit Academy. Ms. Chitman, would you just kind of introduce yourself to us so that they know some of your qualifications?
Sure. My name is Lakina Booker. I am the founder and head of Memphis Merit Academy Charter School, and I had the opportunity to grow up under the tutelage of Reverend Stephen J. Chitman. I am the mother of 3 children and the wife of Mr. Jason Booker. My background, my professional background is mainly in education and STEM education. I spent almost a decade. I spent more than a decade in urban schools, primarily in middle school, and now I am leading and founding Memphis Merit Academy, which is a kindergarten through 8th grade college preparatory public charter school for the Parkway Village community in Memphis, Tennessee.
Great. Me and Lakina, my daughter, Miss Lakina Booker, get about ready to have a discussion about how to move the church forward in the future. Of course, we're interested in the, I guess, Gen X. I guess they call it Gen X, or age group 30 to 40-year-olds in the church. And since the pandemic, we've been struggling to see, we don't know what the church is going to look like in the future. And so there are some dynamics that all churches are going to be dealing with. I spoke to a counterpart in the AME church. I spoke to a counterpart in the non-denominational church, and they are all struggling with the same thing, the 30 to 40-year-old age group, and what may attract them to different ministries. We came up with one conclusion, Minister Chitman, and that was whether or not we think that most 30 to 40-year-olds are not interested in the traditional route. That means the Baptist, Kojic, AME, the mainline denominations as they set traditionally. A lot of them, we think, want to go out and start new ministries and not along those guidelines of those old ministries. What do you think about that?
So that's a wonderful thought and a great thing to be thinking about right now as we are thinking about how do we re-enter church and how do we engage our audiences again? You know, how do we engage our congregation again? Because I fall in that age range, I think for me, it is right now, if you're in that age range, you're probably, you know, on the cusp of, you know, defining your careers, or, you know, you're leading a new family. And so those things go hand in hand about, you know, like ensuring that we have programs that nurture and support this age group. to further, like build their networks from a professional and a spiritual perspective that also involves their entire family. So having family programming is important because in my age group, we're always looking for ways and opportunities to make sure that we can introduce our children to God and how they can continue to build their relationships with God, because we're at the cusp in our career where we're most of the time working very heavily and intensely. We need support with, like how to properly introduce our children to Christ and what that looks like on their level.
Okay, well, did you think that your age group or the 30 to 40-year-old age group, especially as ministers are coming into pastoring churches, do you think they're interested in the traditional denomination, or do you think they're more prone to go toward non-mainline, non-denominational type ministries?
I can't answer that. I can answer that question from my own personal perspective. I will say that so I prefer a traditional setting because I have learned as I've aged how the simple practices of, like, for example, the church setup of offices has aided me in doing things like running a board and aiding in the boardroom. So it's actually been a great translation for me from a professional world, from a spiritual perspective and a religious perspective, traditional perspective, into my own profession. Like, oh, I remember, we had the budget and we had to review the budget and we had these different categories and things like that. So those kind of skills came to me. But if we're just talking about, from a spiritual perspective, I challenge that the two should, I think that it's about life work. I think that our generation are looking for ways to, really explain and help them navigate life right now, whether that mean from, like divorce, like seminar people that may be going through divorce or, money management and things like that, like helping them understand life because they're at these critical points where I guess we're not old enough to say we're going through a midlife crisis, but you might be, like trying to redefine your careers or understand how you can just get better. And so like the church, there are biblical principles that help teach that. And so like offerings like that, I think would help, be a segue into attracting young adults that are, prominent or, very successful in their careers. And even if they're just trying to find their way, connecting people with other people that are in that way now, because I think that even if you're in a traditional setting, the emphasis on maintaining and gaining a spiritual relationship should still be the focus. And so things like the Baptist Convention and things like that I see it's definitely beneficial for me when I think about being an entrepreneur, starting up my own nonprofit, running a business. And so I see the value in both of them because they both should support that age group's well-being.
Right, Minister Booker, I know that you are a young executive and you are probably where a lot of our 30 to 40-year-olds desire to be in position. You are managing, facilitating others, and you are helping build our future America. And you're in a very, very great position to be in to mentor our children. One of the things that we have been talking about as pastors and leaders of different churches is that the fact that we're having a difficulty getting 30 to 40-year-olds, the positions that are within the traditional church, such as deacon, such as trustee, such as board members, like you were just saying, board members, we're having a hard time getting the next generation ready. Succession management is what they call succession management is what we would like to think of it as. Who's going to take our place? And we have to groom people. We have to mentor people to do that. And as a pastor, I would like to have a group of young men ready to come in and take my place, a group of young ministers in place. But instead, what we have is a board and members in those positions that are my age and older. They got white hair, gray hair, and older. And one of the Fortune 500 companies I worked for earlier in my job search, they were very adamant about having a mixture of people on their board. They didn't want everybody with white hair like mine in their corporate picture. Now, saying that, because that goes to say a lot, because it goes to how your future thinking what that looks like. So as we move forward and the church gets blamed for not having adequate ministry to address young minds and young needs, do you think that we need to go after that group of people? And I guess my biggest question, Lakina, is I just want your most practical answer. What do you think can help us to do that? I know I put you on the spot. We called you just at the last minute and put you on the spot. Our next guest is going to be Bishop C.L. Moore out of Earl, Arkansas, Crawfordsville, Arkansas. And but I wanted to ask you, because I know you might not be at the top of your mind, but what are some of the ideas you think I can use to go out and get young men or young women to be the church secretary? How do I pair somebody with her? How do I pair somebody with a deacon and say, look, work in this area for a month or two and see how you like it? I mean, how do you think?
So one of the things I would say, to sum it up in one word, I would say first, just starting with transparency, and understanding the why. I think, I became bolder about, walking in my calling to ministry as I learned, my purpose and why, why should I do this work? Why is it important for us to do this? Why do we need ministers? Why do we need pastors? Why do we need deacons? Why do we need the church secretary? And what impact that has on our congregation, beyond our congregation, our world, our city, what impact does that have on that? So I think, that transparency around, what does it mean? What is the church secretary? What is the function of the pastor? What is the function of the church board? And what skill sets ideally would a person possess if you were thinking about, so you think you want to go into one of those roles? I think sometimes people may not even be able to envision themselves. I think first, before people can do, they must envision it. They must see it. And I think back to Luke chapter 15, when you talk about the lost sheep. So should we go after our generation? Yes, we should definitely go after them, because there is a need, there is a gap that exists. I think it is going to take, members of my generation to just step up to some of these roles and seek that out. But sometimes people they don't do it because they can't see it. So that means, them understanding, okay, when the church secretary gets up and leaves and go back in the back, this is what she's doing. Oh, okay. I'm a banker in my everyday life. Maybe I have some skills that will connect with what she's doing, and I can be groomed by this person. But that could be, even when I say transparency, even revealing, who are these people? How often are they, do you know them? What is there? Because I talk about the importance of profession. I see a lot of people on my timeline right now in my age group. They're all about trying to accomplish their dreams right now, because you're right on the cusp of feeling like I didn't accomplish what I set out to accomplish, and I'm accomplishing what I set out to accomplish. So I think that if they can see the connection in mentorship, I think mentorship is extremely important. But we really need to understand what mentorship is. Mentorship is not just correction. Mentorship is also, being able to, have some companionship and guidance, and then being able to see themselves in the future in someone, and striving to be, like that person. So maybe even thinking about partnering memberships, this member, as members come in, this member joined, you're assigned to this member to follow up with this person. Just even if it's just as simple as sending them a text message to say, hey, are you okay? And letting them in to know, hey, why don't you come in and help me here with this? And maybe even hosting standing seminars, meetings on, or publishing, literature about, here's what it means to be a church officer. here's what it takes to be a church officer or qualifications of some sort, because sometimes people may think that they just simply don't qualify, and in fact they do. And then just expressing that there is a need. I think today is a first step in saying, hey, there's a gap right now in your age group. And it may simply even pull on the heartstrings of some young people to say, okay, I'm here, I'm sitting by, and they're doing it, not really realizing that it's their time to step up. It's their time to step up, in our finances, you're not the little child sitting on the bench anymore. Like, it's your time to lead.
Right.
And so like helping understand that, but then nurturing our understanding of what it means to lead, to give in this capacity. And when we don't, what that actually means. I see a lot of people also, and I know I'm not trying to be long-winded, I see a lot of people also right now in my generation trying to start nonprofits, and that's great. But what I've been challenged with now is, like, I challenge people when they come to me with a new nonprofit and they need support on, like, does this already exist? If it does already exist, is there opportunity for us to already just partner with this particular nonprofit? So, and I said all that to say that even with the church, like, if there is something that you're passionate about, is this something that we could partner with the church to be able to do, so that the church can be even more powerful, and that the church can, like, to pair it with your faith, and it goes hand in hand with who you are, who you're becoming, and all of that. So transparency, just being transparent about, we need help with this group. And then mentorship, partnering, so I can know that someone is thinking about me, even when I may think like, oh man, they don't get me. Someone is thinking about me and they're trying to understand. And then support people in this age group are at critical points in their lives. Either they're, on the horizon with their jobs, or making career changes, or at the brink of, am I doing what I set out to do? And so, like, just having programs that exist to be able to help support them in that way in their life.
Oops, I forgot how to admit this person. I wonder how can I go back and admit them? But I'm
just go to part.
Yeah,
click it.
It's gonna be somebody else joining us in the picture in just a minute. I did say admit, and so there. Hey, how you doing there, Bishop?
Hello.
Bishop.
How are you?
All right. You're joining a discussion with school founder of the Memphis Merit Academy, Minister Lakina Booker. She's the founder of Memphis Merit Academy in Memphis, Tennessee. Joining us now is Bishop Connie Moore. Would you state your name, your church name and stuff, Pastor?
Greater Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church.
Okay. Bishop Moore is he hosts a talk show every morning, Minister Booker. Minister Booker happens to be my daughter, but she's in that, is it correct, Minister Booker, to say Gen X? I don't know, what?
I think, yeah, I'm in Gen X.
Gen X.
Look it up for.
And what we've been talking about for a few minutes, Bishop, is how to get the 30 to 40-year-olds to help us in ministry in the church and know that they are needed.
Absolutely.
So she has been explaining to me some of her views on that, Bishop. We're recording this Zoom to play, of course, right here in the near future. So I want you to know that. But Bishop, she's been telling me about her ideals and ideals. We've been talking about mentorship and how to bring on the 30 to 40-year-olds and incorporate them in the work of the church. But let me express something that she just was stating, Bishop, and we're just going to be on about five or six more minutes there, Bishop, but I'm going to give you the floor. But what I was trying to get over to her was that we need that core age group from 20 to 40. We really need all ages, but 20 to 40. We need those people for succession, meaning to take our place, to further the church. And if they know that we don't need them, I'm expressing today that is not a true reality. We desire their help. We want their help. We want them there. And we also had a discussion about whether the preference for that age group, 20 to 40 or so, was it their perception it's my perception that they want to go to the non-traditional track of non-Baptist, non-Kojic, non-AME, and go to non-denominational type situations. But I think if they take another look at the traditional route, they would find that people are more than willing to allow them to come in and step in and be trained. The founder of the school there might have to leave after a while. I hope not, but I want her to hear some of what you had to say, Bishop.
You know, we did a live talk show on that, dealing with the millennials, the Gen X, and the baby boomers, and we dealt with how can we better incorporate all of those generations into the worship and into the church and still function. And one of the things that it was amazing to me, and I appreciate Pastor you bringing me on, because a lot of the Gen X were really feeling pretty much what you're talking about. They were feeling like they were outcast. They were feeling like they didn't want to be a part. And they have a new way that they are doing things that if we don't adjust, we're going to lose them. And churches are losing them. And I perceive, Pastor, that a lot of churches are going to close because of their unwillingness to sit at the table and bring them to the table. Because right now, wow, our ministries are not gonna function without them, because we're in media. And how many of us that are Gen X and baby boomers? I'm the tail end of the Gen X. I was born in '65, and the baby boomers ended in '64. So I'm more of a baby boomer than I am a Gen X. But I'm telling you, it's really getting scary. I think we're going to see in the next 5 years, many churches are going to close because they're not going to have, when the older people die out, that there would be no younger people to take over.
Minister Booker?
Yes, I think thank you, Bishop Moore, for those comments. I think that's also like what I was trying to express. I was telling him before you got on about, I see a lot of my generation like starting nonprofits, being very successful with that. Like they're either at the cusp of their in their life where I'm at the peak of my career, or I'm changing careers, or oh my goodness, I have not accomplished what I need to accomplish. Help. And what in their minds, they're trying to find a place. And if it doesn't look like a place, I'm going to create a place. I was having a conversation with a young lady yesterday, really from a mentoring perspective. And basically she was just asking me about life and was she making the right choices and things like that. And, it dawned on me like, oh my, it's like my turn to, yes, I'm in this seat. Yes, I'm in this position. I lead teachers and leaders every day and I have kids in the building, but like, no, like I'm in a position right now that is my turn to mentor other young people that are making these critical life choices. And so we have to see a space for that to be able to happen. And are those spaces being nurtured? Because people are willing. I see a lot of my generation right now, like they thrive on being a part of professional networks that, basically give them a voice. And so I think because Pastor Chitman was asking about, like, is it the tradition or is it a more non-denominational? I think that in what you find typically, and I know we can't speak for all, in the non-denominational churches, there are several opportunities for different ministries to be led, not necessarily by a traditional, like the same few leaders that exist in what we would call a traditional church, like, oh, you have to be a deacon or you have to be this person and you're leading it. And in a non-traditional setting, there's opportunity for you to lead, for example, like peer groups where you're talking about topics that help you deal with everyday life, but then also come back around and help you apply it with those biblical principles. Yep. So it's not that we have to change church, it's that we have to be aware of who we're dealing with, because they're looking around first. I think when we experience church, we're looking around. Do I see myself? Do I see a connection? Do I see someone that I can connect with so that I can continue to grow?
Right.
And if that connection is like, if there's no, even if they don't look like me or they're not the same age, are you is that hospitality there around showing a compassion around making you're ensuring, or you want to make sure that I get better in some.
Minister Booker, and Bishop, what shocked me once? I had a meeting about bringing the younger group, not teenagers, I'm talking about young adults, and trying to nurture them into helping in the ministry, Minister Booker. And I had, for lack of a better way, I had decided to say, give them a Sunday. You know how we used to do that, Bishop, give them a Sunday and let them operate all of the aspects of the ministry. And it was really expressed to me that was too immaturish, in lack of a better word, because they felt that was not the solution to our situation. And I thought it was a good way for them to get their hands into the ministry and aspects of the ministry, but they thought that was too elementary. Let me put it that way, elementary, to do it that way. So they want to be more in sync with what's going on than they do. That's their Sunday. You understand what I'm saying, Minister Booker?
Yes, I think what you're talking about, though, is equity. They want a more equitable experience. And if we really talk about equity, equity is not just about race. Equity is, can include age. And that means equity is across all decisions. So if you want me to participate equitably in praise, and in function and roles, that also means I want to be a part of an equitable decision making. And so that's the reality that the traditional church has to think, am I ready? Are we ready for that? And are we really open to having that voice be heard, so that we can be equitable? Because equity is not one Sunday. And that's probably what the response was. Equity is, I see myself here.
What's say, Bishop?
Well, you have the MIAs as your 18s to 35, they're missing in the church. And that's the reason why we started a program. We have a ministry called Friday Night Live. I don't know if y'all saw it. Our first, and prior to, when the Lord gave this to me, he said, get with the young people, sit them down. And there's the principle that I had to get with them was that, okay, we're going to do things. I'm going to have a ministry just for you all to express yourselves and to do what you want to do. And I said, the method does change, but the message does not. This is where, and let me tell you something, and the young people got it. The first meeting, we had over 500 young people. It was amazing. We had people writing to my daughters and them saying, you all stopped me from committing adultery or fornication and from committing suicide. Because in their church, they didn't feel welcome. They didn't feel a part. And Friday Night Live, we had gospel rap, we had mime dancing, we allowed poetry, praise dancing, all of that. But the elderly people ripped me to pieces almost. I got ridiculed pretty bad from that. You bringing the world in, you're compromising the gospel. And they didn't realize hundreds of young people were coming to the altar bowing to get saved. And I'm getting crucified by my own people, and so it was really tough, but we went for it. I listened. I didn't even give the invitation to discipleship. I let the young people gave it, because I said, if you're going to do this, y'all going to give a word of encouragement. You are going to give an invitation to discipleship. I said, I will assist you. I will help you, but you're going to do it. And it worked, Pastor. And the only reason why we're not doing it is because we're not open to the general public right now. And I want to say Happy Founders Day to to the sister here. I have 2 daughters that are AKAs, and I have another daughter that's a Delta. So,
how did you know? How did you pick up on that, Bishop?
Pastor, I got 2 daughters. Them colors, the beads.
Oh yeah, okay.
The wrist colors, the green and the pink.
Oh, and I just saw what do you call that, Lakina? Your shield, your what? Your emblem, your badge, your what? What's that?
What I want to get back to. Thank you. Thank you so much for saying Happy Founders Day. Is what you're talking about is you assess the need. And so that's why I said today, you're just calling out, Pastor Chitman, that, hey, this is, like, I see that we need this. This is a gap. Now you assess the need. And when you really assess the need, you really do ask the people, what do you need? And we think about what Jesus did. Jesus literally did that. Who touched me?
Right.
And his power, he literally went out. The man, when he healed sight to the blind, he literally, gave them what they need. He gave them what they needed. So, when we think about, the word of God going out, we have to really think about, what does this generation think they need? And then, like Bishop Moore said, and how do we address that? And then he used voice. He didn't step away. He said, and I'm still going to train you. I'm here as a support, but here's this platform, here's this, capacity for you to be able to do this. And I think that's what I guess I was trying to communicate, in that in the non-traditional church, you just see more of that more prevalent in terms of like having like life groups. And when he said things about like, oh, you helped me from not committing suicide and things like that, like we need to really have some groups that are going to talk about some topics that people are dealing with right now.
Yes. Very uncomfortable topics.
Yes.
Well, let me say this before we wrap up, is that we're going to have more discussions like this. I pray Bishop Moore and Minister Chitman. And the reason why I said that was because what I'm saying to young adults, young mature adults, young adults, is that what we want to do is be around so that the mistakes can be made as well as corrected. Because if we don't allow you to get in and have access and sync with the ministry, work in, a lot of times what people are thinking that we're doing, Minister Booker, is relinquishing total control. Even when we're trying to bring them in to sync them, to sync them in with the way we're doing, to make them an integral part, they feel like we should be relinquishing altogether. And what we're saying is, come in together, let your views be known, and help in the decision making.
Pastor, could I add to that or address that? That's a very good assessment. The problem with that is we as senior elders have not made them feel welcome and have not allowed their opinions to be welcome. It's one thing to bring them to the table, but as she mentioned, we got to assess that equity. We got to make that equity to be that you're important and you're necessary. And in my experiences of watching churches, we're saying come only because we don't want to lose you.
Right.
But we need to say, I want you to come because I want to learn from you.
Oh, okay.
I want to know what you're feeling, because I don't understand. See, I didn't come up in and you and I didn't come up in that area of what these young people are dealing with. These young people getting cars at 15, 16 years old. We had bicycles at that time, and that was an old beat up bike.
Right.
So
right.
The things that they have access to now were things that we imagined.
That's right.
And they have easy access to those things. So we need to get in their world to understand what's going on. And there has to be a shift in the church.
Right.
From that tradition, because just like it is no different in the world. We started out in the farming age and we moved into the industrial age. Now we're in the technology age, where people work with their fingers at a computer.
That's right.
This is like she's sitting at, she's at work. This is her job.
Right.
And so now the church has to adjust to these. We have to shift. There is a paradigm shift that if we don't adjust to it, we're going to die. And the church has to keep making babies.
That's
and if
right.
the church is no longer having babies, the church is going to die. And when the church gets too old to have babies, sooner or later, enough funerals will cause us to dissipate.
Thank you. Listen, on the next discussion we have next time, I would like to ask our viewers, as well as those who make comments today about this subject, please make your comments, and we will make them available for Bishop Moore and Minister Chitman and myself. We want to see those. We want to take those seriously. And I'm sure Bishop Moore wouldn't mind you contacting him. He's on every morning, just about every morning. He's on about 7 a.m. Is that right, Bishop?
7:30, Monday through Fridays.
7:30, Monday through Friday. He's streaming on Facebook. I know you can catch him streaming there. He has a very adequate ministry. I sit in, listen a lot of times at that ministry, and he's doing a great job. And Minister Booker, thank you for joining us from Memphis Marriott Academy, taking time out of her work schedule and joining with us. Have a very active school right there in Memphis, Tennessee, on American Way and Perkins. I'm going to say it like that. You will find it. All you got to do is Google it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, www.memphismarriotacademy.org. So it was the best.
Grades what?
Grades kindergarten through third grade for the next year. Our application is currently open, but seats are filling up fast.
and Bishop Moore, he's got so many listeners and stuff like that. I'm just a novice coming on compared to him. I'm just a rookie compared to talk to. Look, he got on his computer. I just text him the link, you guys, on Zoom, and look at him. We're gonna figure out a way. Bishop Moore already knows a way, and my daughter probably, how to open this up. But what we want to talk about in the future conversation is what software is going to be relevant for ministry moving forward to interact with young people like my daughter's school handles, how to interact with teenagers, what software. We're right now on Facebook, and you'll probably see this on YouTube, but we need to know, how do we interact with those different age groups? I don't know anything about TikTok. I don't even know how it operates. All I know is it's got videos on it. I don't know I don't even know how it operates, Bishop. I don't know what TikTok does. I just learned about some software called Nearpod that I plan on going and adjusting to, because people can answer your questions right on the screen, Bishop, my daughter told me. And she says in the age group my daughter has at school, she's got something called Seesaw they use in school for some kind of platform. And so, Bishop, there's a whole lot for me. Now, Bishop Moore sitting there like he know all about these already. So
I was gonna say I'm gonna ask Minister Booker to take me and you both to add us into the classes of her students, so we can educate in this. I don't know.
I think what you're saying, Pastor Chitman, I think it just proves the point. The reason for this topic today is that there's so much to learn from both sides. So much that we, our generation could teach your generation, and your generation has to teach us. And once we all understand that partnership, then we'll be able to move forward and move the church forward in terms of sustainability and succession.
Well, we said church is going to be different, Bishop Moore. We said church in the future may never be the same.
Absolutely.
So that's the direction we're taking this talk, this discussion into, and we pray to include others as Bishop Moore and my daughter teach me how to do that. I will incorporate it, and maybe we'll have a screen where we can admit different people in, but I got to know how to take them out, though. I got to know how to take them out in case they go too far. I got to know how to X them out. Can the host X anybody out?
Yes, but then typically when you have things like this, you have somebody who's just assigned to doing technology, like managing the comments, managing the participants, so you don't have to worry about that. You focus on
that's what I do.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. See,
That's why we
Bishop
need
Moore.
these young people, Pastor. They can handle that. They can cipher out and sift out everything. So you just handle the show, and they'll take care of it. Your technology people. That's why we need these young people.
That's right. That's right. So as we move forward, and everybody's streaming, Bishop Moore and Minister Chitman, all these churches are streaming, and everybody's streaming their Bible study, their Sunday worship, and they and then ministries that come on every day, like Bishop Moore. All these things are happening, and I'm here, and I know a lot of pastors are going to watch this video, and they're going to say those subjects are pertinent. May not be in the everyday people, but as we take on the next subject of what can we use to advance ministry, it's going to be looked at all around the country. So I want you to know, thank you for joining us today, and I pray that your day will be successful. We got to end with prayer, though. Minister Booker, will you pray for us as we leave this discussion? Go ahead, Bishop.
Can I make this announcement? Tuesday night, I am doing Tuesday. I do every month. I do Tuesday Talk with the Bishop, and we're going to be talking about the dormancy, because we're in a dormant season of worship. What are we doing about? What do we do about ourselves? What about our giving? What about our commitment and connection to Christ? Because we're still dormant. So yes, I'll be able to do that. I need to dismiss myself. My daughter's
calling. No, we're going to go now. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, okay, Bishop, you can go ahead and leave.
Hello, this is Pastor Chitman. I'm back with you. I just wanted to tell you, I really appreciated you joining our discussion today. And I pray that you were edified by some of the things that were said today. This was our discussion on how to get 30 to 40-year-old young adults active and participating and being a part of the body of Christ. We don't want you as a guest. We don't want to entertain you. We don't want to play with you. You are the church. So we need you. We need you active right now. There are people whose hands are withering, waiting for the next person to take a hold of it and move it forward. We need you in our ministries, especially in the Baptist church. I believe in the Kojic church, in the CME church, in the AME church, in every church. We need you. And so you don't have to sit back and wonder. We're just looking for you to come through the door, and there's something for you to do. I need your help. This is Pastor Chitman. You heard me all throughout this message saying I need your help. So please come, get with us, join us, and be a part of this ministry. You can call the number right there on your screen, leave your number, or leave a message for me if I don't answer the phone, and I will get back with you, and we can continue this discussion. The next discussion is going to be on what to use to engage people in this new season that we're in right now. This is Pastor Chitman. I know I've taken up too much of your time. I'm going to let you go. May God bless you. And remember, just do it how God's way.